Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self love, self care, mental health care, protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today's topics are going to include the power of spoken word. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I am A Slate. Weird voice, huh? The power
Weird
of
voice
spoken
today.
word. Weird
The
voice
power of
today.
spoken word. But first,
Mm-hmm.
you can watch us on YouTube, listen to us on SoundCloud, interact with us on all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And always email us at flywithusla@gmail.com. All right, so the power of spoken word. You always say the power of life and death is in the tongue.
It's in the tongue. It's in the tongue. So it's power in the spoken word. I'm sitting here. I'm flabbergasted right now because I wrote my first poem in a very, very long time. I'm talking about the first poem to free me again, right? That kind of poem where you like, oh, and you just feel good because you got it out. You was
yourself.
like, yeah, I'm back. You know, that kind of poem.
Okay.
So, and then when I went to recover it, to share it with you, Lady Bounce, what I say happened? It vanished.
It vanished.
Vamoose. So it's slowly coming back. But yeah, it is. I definitely believe it's power in the spoken word. You can speak over yourself. You can speak life into your situation, or you can speak something you don't even want into existence. So we need to really be mindful of our words and what we're saying. How you feel about spoken word? Just the spoken word, period.
I agree. My mom and my sister and my aunt and my niece and nephew and my daughter, we all got together and hung out at my aunt's house. And so my daughter got to hear these stories about different members of our family, about us, that she had never heard before. And one of the things that my older sister said, she was like, Nikki's mouth is venom. And she was like, I ain't never in my life met nobody with a venom tongue like yours.
It cuts like a knife.
And I was like, well, dang.
Well, dang.
Right. So then, of course, I was like, I had to play I don't know what you talking about. And she was like, oh, you know. I was
you
like,
don't know what they talking about. It don't help that you're intelligent, too.
Right. And I was like, I said, I have no frame of reference of that of which you speak. And so, of course, my daughter's sitting there like, tell it, Auntie Angie. Tell it. So she starts sharing these stories, and I'm like, dang, I don't even remember saying that. And then she said some other stuff, and I like clearly remember saying it, and I was like, yeah, I might, have a little slick tongue there. Like, I mean, I have a screensaver on my phone that says I'm 100% Gemini. I got a good heart, but this mouth. So I definitely, agree that the power is in the tongue, and words are important, and words have power. And you have to be mindful and careful with your words, because like you said, you can either attract what you don't want or attract what you do want and what you need. So even when I'm arguing with people, I'm always thinking, so it doesn't make me a good argumentative type of person, because I'm always making sure I don't say.
I think it kind of works because you quick with it. So even though you think you always.
But I try to be careful and not say those things that there's no coming back from. You know what I mean?
That's the power of the trained.
Right. It's definitely something, because as soon as she said that, I was like,
take some practice.
Yeah, she started saying like different stuff that I had said, and I was like, yeah, that was kind of mean.
Yeah,
like
you gotta be careful.
That was a little bit harsh. Like,
yeah, we gotta think about how we say things. I know I had in one of my pieces of Mincy's, I had a line in there where I said, you see, this used to be my weapon, but it was also my curse. Exchange the rod for the word, a new understandable verse. Because I had to quit using my words to cut like a knife, and start allowing my words to be useful
And
versus just
I gotta
using them.
say, it's probably the one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do is to be mindful while being angry, so that you don't say, you know what I mean? Like you, every person has that one thing that if it is said to them, it will just totally
And
crush
you're going to
them.
use your words. You're going to use your words. You're going to use your words to
Right.
destroy and kill and conquer.
And I have a knack, and I don't know if this is, it's obviously not a good trait, but I have a knack for being able to like know
Exactly
what
what to
that
say.
thing is that will just. So I'm always very careful, even when I'm like fussing at my students, to keep their self-esteem intact
Yeah.
and not always say what I really feel or what I really think, even when I think what you're doing is totally stupid.
So then you're not saying what you feel. You're saying what you think. That can be a good thing. If we operate solely off of feelings, that can be terrible. That's when we say the things we don't mean
Right.
and the harmful, hurtful things. So it's good that you're thinking. Another thing about the power of spoken word for me in the context of poetry. Ha!
Yes, ma'am.
I've said 1,000 times, and I've heard it said to me that I have a hard time articulating and speaking and making myself clear without rambling and stumbling over my words or going way too fast. Because I know you've seen many times where I'm like, Nikki, and you're like,
But I
what?
hear everything. I usually hear everything that you say,
But I'm
and I
trying
can
to get the
process
thought
it.
out, and all I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is like today I went to school and the kids were awesome and we had an activity and it really worked out. But I run 1,000 things together versus if I just put it in a poem, I can really get my thoughts out. Now I've been in other situations where I am arguing. And I've had my friend come to me plenty of times and say, "Oh, you must be big mad. You must be big mad because you talking to me like a poet now." So,
Oh.
so and then my kid's father used to say, "You talking to me in riddles and rhymes." So I knew that must have meant I must be going to my higher self. And I'm
Right.
really wanting you to understand what I'm saying. And for me, that's to utilize the power of the spoken word. Um, Texting versus speaking,
Oh,
you
all
know,
the time.
so that works. And then I think the message is always can be misconstrued when we're reading it
Yeah,
versus
because
hearing it.
and it depends too on like the type of conversation that it is, and especially if it's an argumentative kind of conversation or like a disagreement of any kind, anything that is said to you while you're in that agitated state, you're
You're
going to
gonna take
take
it
it
the wrong
wrong,
way.
even if they
Yeah.
didn't mean it that way. So of course your response isn't going to be the response that they necessarily need. Is going to be the response that's tailored to how you felt about what you just read, and you could be totally misreading it.
Like I
So,
was talking to. Go ahead.
but no, I'm saying, so it is important, with text messages and emails, that you read them 1,500 times before you hit send. And
Yeah.
if you're arguing with somebody, it is almost better to argue face to face, and in that way, the emotion and everything, nothing is misconstrued in that way. If-
Thank you for bringing that word back. So I corrected it on a mumble. So, so thanks, Most High. So yeah, but I know like one of the things for me, as a poet and spoken word artist, I love recording. Right,
Right.
I love recording. And I was like, this is fine and dandy, but for me, I like to be face to face. I like to be where the people are, where the energy is. I want to speak. I want the words to be felt. So
Right.
I truly believe it's power in that. So that's pretty much where I'm at on that spoken word thing. Now the spoken word artist, yeah. Well,
The artiste.
artiste, that take a little bit of finessing. That's a gift. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. So yeah, that that's just like where we know how to, like, when you want to go home and you got the weekend and the kids are gone to work and y'all got a couple hours, you know how to use your voice and play with a situation. All that goes into that finessing the
Right.
how to get your point across, what you want. And that's the beauty of the spoken word. cadence, tone, inflection, connotation, all these things. So yeah.
Yeah, because you can say anything,
My
but
granddaddy used to say, "It ain't what you say,
it's how
it's how
you
you
say it
say it."
all the time.
It's how you say it. So another funny thing he said is, "I want you to understand me, not misunderstand me."
Right.
That's funny.
And see, I grew up in a household where we talked about any and everything. I mean, we talked about, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but my dad always would say we can talk about anything, but there's a respectful way to do it. And so it's always, respectful conversations around those difficult conversations. And, like your granddaddy said, my grandma say all the time, it ain't what you say, it's how you say it. And back talking and mumbling under your breath is always bad.
I got mumbling kids who ramble around in our house. I got mumbling kids, so they would have always been in trouble. That's how they communicate.
Well, we didn't necessarily get
I
in
know what you
trouble,
mean,
but
though.
my mother used to say stuff like, I heard you. Do I need to come up there? And you be like, I didn't even really I didn't say anything. It was kind of under my breath. And my mom be like, I can hear your thoughts. And I'm like,
Ooh,
you heard my thoughts. Wait a whole minute. Where they teach
I
that class
like
at?
that.
You
I
know,
like that.
and
And then too, it goes back to that sound, that inflection in the voice, and how you say it. You letting your thoughts be heard and how you say something.
yeah,
You letting your feelings be shown and how you say it. One of the things I do in the workshop, I ask kids, how y'all feeling? And then they'll tell me how they feeling, but then I show them. Now, if I say I'm happy and I come in like, I'm so happy.
right.
Am I really happy?
No.
Or if I'm like, I'm so mad, they like, why is she mad? She must have forgot to do something. Like she's not really mad. But yeah, so that's where I'm at on that. Let's talk a little bit about how we can use the power of spoken word to empower, say, ourselves.
Like a mantra.
Like a mantra.
So
Yeah.
like back in episode 5, our self-care assignment was actually to create a mantra. So did you create a mantra that you say to yourself every day, or not even every day, but maybe in a difficult situation?
Well, I actually have one that I created to use with the young people, and it simply says, I am enough. I am more than what you think of me. Ask me how I know, because my thoughts, they help me see. I am the only extraordinary me. I am a legend, creating a legacy. I believe in my destiny. Now, the kids was like, shoot, they don't hear no affirmations, declarations, and mantras. That is so boring.
Right.
So I was like, let's turn it to a rap. And I liked it. But then they changed it this year to I am enough. I am more than what you think of me. Ask me how I know, because my thoughts, they help me see. I am the only what? Extraordinary me. I am a legend. What? Creating a legacy. What? I believe in my destiny. So they start doing that. And then I was like, do you really mean it?
Oh.
Do you really mean it? And one of the things I was taught by one of my teachers was a tapping thing. So you sit there and you say, I am enough. This lets you know you really are enough.
Right.
And for example, if you got I am enough is the only thing you say to yourself every day. When you say I am, you claiming to be something.
Right.
So when you say I am tired, I am hungry, I am broke, I am depressed, cancel all that.
Right.
You putting something on yourself. But if you say I am enough,
Right.
you are. For any and everything, so you can just put just that on your mirror, and when you wake up in the morning, you see that I am enough. Put it on your door when you walk out. I am enough.
I like that.
It's power in that. There's power in that.
I know for my I actually did it in my summer school program that I used to work at summer camp, and then I carried it over into the school year. But for my young ladies, I have these they were phone blocks I got from the teacher store, and they had like silver film on them, almost like tinfoil, so you can see yourself in it. So we used that, and we created a mirror, and around it we taped messages of positivity, directed at themselves. Like, my lips are pretty, my lips are full, my hair is, my hair is good hair. All hair is good hair. If your hair grows, is good hair. So it was like a whole mirror full of affirmations for them to take home and hang up. And I said, every morning after you get dressed or while you're getting dressed, look in this mirror and pick 5. Pick 5 at random. That way you don't get tired of them.
Yeah.
Pick 5 at random and say them out loud to yourself while touching yourself. You know, I didn't even think about the tapping part, but I told them to do this.
But they're still making themselves aware.
Because as you feel your heartbeat and you realize this is your purpose, you are who you are, and you're perfectly fine being whatever it is that you are.
I had my 7th and 8th grade girls I had a bunch of old CDs that were scratched or whatever.
Right.
And we used those as like mirrors in their journals, and that the activity was when you see me.
Right.
You should see. And I asked them, what do you see when you see yourself?
Right.
Because whatever you see when you see yourself, that's what you're showing the rest of the world. And so I wanted them to look at themselves in that distorted way.
Right.
I wanted the blurriness of that mirror because I wanted them to really look inside of themselves.
Right.
And not at face value, not looking at it as face value.
Because
they're much more than what
yeah, you
eyes
could
can
be in
see.
an accident tomorrow and it'll take away your beauty, and then what do you have?
So they say. Right. Right.
I mean, my grandma used to always tell me that. She's like, you got to do more than be cute.
I say beauty fades.
At first I was like, wait, you think I'm cute, grandma? Hold up.
You think I'm cute?
You think I'm pretty?
You think I'm cute? That was in one of my plays before.
Right. So, when she said that, I was like, oh, you think I'm cute? And she's like, yeah, but that ain't gonna get you nowhere. I was like, well, dang, I was up here and then I was right back to reality. Like,
humble yourself.
Yeah, humble yourself.
Yeah. So
take that air out your head. Just pop.
So these affirmations can definitely help us move forward and empower ourselves with those. Yeah.
You can move mountains with that.
Hey,
because I make jokes like with my students, all the time, and they'll say stuff like, I'm cute or whatever. And I'll be like, you don't look better than me. So it don't matter what you look like. And they
confidence is cute.
Right.
I was at work earlier today, and my client was talking about wanting to start a business, and she'd been wanting to start a business, and she wanted to do this. And I was telling her to like take 10 little Post-it notes and stick them around her house or whatever.
Right.
And she was listening. She like, that's a good idea. I'm like, I know you don't want Post-it notes all over your beautiful house. So as you do it, pull them down. But then she was like, well, I ain't got the money for it. What? What do you mean? You are an abundant source of money. You are a well of money waiting to overflow. All these ideas you just sitting on and just sitting here with, you got to tell yourself, I am enough.
Right.
You got to tell yourself, I have the money. And if I don't have it, I need to ask where it's at. Most High, where this money at? Show me where it's at so I can go get it. And she looking at me like, what? I said, you have not because you asked not. Right?
Right.
Claim, ask for it. Get up, go get it, and start building your business. And if you want it, we are in a season of manifestation, right?
I think so.
I mean, I think a lot of us have been shown that everything we want, we can have or we're actually getting. And if not, I was always taught, believe it to receive it.
Right.
So I say, I know you've heard fake it till you make it, right?
Fake it till you make it.
So I told her, I said, well, if you want your own business doing such and such and such and such, how about this empty room you got over here that's just sitting being cute doing nothing? You turn it into an office.
Right.
And you put, okay, if you want to, if your goal is to design somebody's bedroom, go get you some swatches of the color schemes and put them in here, because you're building your business right here in this room. Right. And have your desk and start writing some things out, and go outside with your business card and your little portfolio as if you already where you want to be. Right. And watch it happen. Watch it happen. I mean, we can say a lot. Yeah, there's power in the spoken word, but at the same time, we got to put some action to it too. That's why I like being a spoken word artist, because that's where we get to put the action to it, and everybody get to see it and witness it happen and unfold.
Even using your platform to inspire other people.
Definitely. If I don't motivate and inspire and encourage, I ain't doing nothing. I mean, talent, that's all good. That's all good, but it only becomes a gift when you use it to bless somebody else. Exactly. The talent is fine and dandy. That's fine and dandy. But if I don't move you to do something great and be the best you that you can be, or if I don't move you to rethink something, you know what I mean? I ain't doing nothing. I'm just bumping my gums, doing chin ups, bumping my gums. What good am I serving doing that? I'm not honoring the Most High God. I'm not honoring the gift. You know.
When you said that, I had to to chuckle because as you were saying it, I'm like, I've been in the presence of spoken word artists who have given me more inspiration than the pastor on Sunday.
Come on, now that's church.
But I mean, it's like I think about that, like before I knew who you were and before we became friends and I saw you, I was like, that girl is dope.
Thank you.
Like, cause I'm like, I don't like spoken word. I don't like that, everybody has the same cadence with the snap, the fingers. I'm like, I hate that style of poetry.
Yeah.
And then, but then when I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, she's like the first spoken word artist I've seen that doesn't do that same cadence with the snaps in between. I'm like, she's something like different. I mean, not all the time, but when I first saw you, you weren't like that. So I was like,
I can't be like that. I mean, like, even in acknowledging certain things that I was told, some things that were spoken unto me as I was growing up. Oh, well, you're schizophrenic. You have bipolar disorder. You have anxiety. You a product of your environment. All this stuff. I turned that thing around. I'm gonna tell myself something different.
right.
I'm gonna use these words to empower me too. So if you think that I'm a schizophrenic, I tell you what, I'm gonna be one of the best damn actresses you've ever seen.
Right.
All right. And if you think I suffer from depression, no, I'm gonna go out here in some dilapidated areas and go out here and see these terrible conditions and situations and turn them into the most beautiful canvases I've ever walked on. You know what I mean? I'm gonna turn it all around with not only my words but with my thoughts. I mean, So
No.
I use spoken word to help me out, to minister over myself,
Right.
and at the same time just pray I can bless somebody else with that. Like, that's probably where all the animation and the antics come from. That's a part of what they thought. What they thought was an illness.
Well, I wouldn't
Like,
even.
no, I'm okay.
Even with that, like we've talked about that before about not claiming stuff like that, and then you wonder, or I wonder because I see adults do it. When you say these things to children, what are you hoping for the outcome to be? So like when you are speaking these things into a child, and some of them may not even be true. You're telling this child, oh, you're crazy, you're bipolar, you're schizophrenic. This kid may be normal as they come. So then I always have to wonder, what's your end game as the person who is spewing these hateful words to a child? I mean,
that's why I wanted the Right Life Village. That is exactly why I created the Right Life Village, so that we could work responsibly and triumph efficiently through love, inspiration, faith, and empowerment. Love them, inspire them, be faith-filled as I go in there, and make sure that we are empowered when we walk out. Now, I've worked with some of the kids that were said to be all these different things, and when they put them words on paper, man, listen. Like, they not crazy. You just lazy for thinking so little of them and not thinking
that's
a
what
little
it is.
higher of them.
It's lazy. It's being lazy in your thinking and lazy in your diligence to serve and protect all kids. Like I saw this shirt and said protect black kids even when they're not yours. And I was
Protect
like, that
all
was
kids.
I said,
even when
right.
they're
And I
not
said, that
yours.
was powerful. And I said, but we can't just protect all the black kids. We got to protect all kids.
I can't wait to release the book that the students wrote during this summer. They had a topic. They had a session on Black Lives Matter. Man, I'm here to tell you. I had to just, when I got outside, I had to just collect myself. I had to take a trip around my car and be grateful that I done had another trip around the sun to witness these kids and their thought process and what matters to them. But yeah, we'll talk more about the power of the spoken word and put some words in flight next week. And share some poetry and stuff. Maybe get some hip hop flows going on here. You know, hey, pick
Yeah.
it. So
I
we
think
gonna do
I
that.
think if you beatbox, I could spit a hot 16.
Oh, we might have to do
I,
that.
I
We
got
did
a
that in the class too.
yeah, I got a
Beatboxing.
hot 16 in here somewhere.
Yeah, Mr. Stokes was beatboxing, and the kids went on in there. But I'm gonna go on ahead to the mindfulness minute. We not gonna use too many more words. The spoken word, too much more of it right now. But for the mindfulness minute, you know, after you get your words out, if you can't get the words out, you can't find a way to say it, maybe you should take a morning walk. You can start your day off right with a brisk 30-minute walk early in the morning before everybody is up or just as the sun is starting to rise. That's the best time. Many people find it to be the most spiritual part of the day. I love watching the sunrise. I'm here to tell you, if you've never watched it from beginning to end, you missing out on some powerful from some powerful stuff. I can't just say no other words for it. Take this time to meditate and prepare for the day ahead. It's a great way to allow your mind to relax, and not only will you feel refreshed and centered, but you will also find that you have more energy throughout the day. You can listen to some music, you can work out, or you can dance a little bit if you need to. But make sure you eat a healthy breakfast when you return from your walk, because when you get out there and release and prepare to receive, you also have to refuel. Be mindful of that. And that is our mindfulness minute, to take a morning walk. Take that time to talk with the Most High God. I do it often. Your body and your life will thank you for it.
Show enough, show enough.
Our self-care assignment this week is to design a goal board. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I was working with my client and she has some goals, and one of the tips was to put 10 things down that she needed to do to attain or to reach that goal. And as you reach those goals, hit those little markers, pull them sticky notes off the wall. We all have a lot of goals and aspirations in life, but seeing them every day reminds us to continue to reach for them in our everyday tasks. Whatever the goal may be, the visual daily reminder will help you focus your energy and get your creative juices flowing every time you see the board. You need to see it so that you can believe it and make that happen. So that is our self-care assignment. Design a goal board or a vision board, and take a morning walk is our mindfulness minute. And I will quickly speed on over here to the brain science. Brain science.
Okay, so I had it. Okay. So today's brain science is about the positive self-talk that's going to help you win the race or just win the day. Sometimes you just need to win the day, win this moment, not all day. So it starts with a question. What are your inner voices saying? You know the ones. Some days they sound like the paternal Obi-Wan Kenobi booming, "You can do it." Other days the self-talk takes on the tone of a whiny child. "I can't. It's too hard. I'm not good enough." But no matter which tone they take, those inner voices talk incessantly. And we should be paying attention, because what we say to ourselves has a direct impact on our success or failures. Yeah. So here are not five. There are 4 ways to start, because I thought it was 5 and I was like, wait, no, it is 4.
Right. 5 is
So
grace.
when you are ready to script your own powerful thoughts, here's how you start. First, notice what you are already saying to yourself. Most of us don't give conscious attention to the voices rambling in our heads, yet they impact us whether we notice or not. So consciously tune in to your self-talk. Politely acknowledge and then ignore any talk that isn't helpful. Yeah. When you hook into negative self-talk, notice it and shift your attention elsewhere. Don't become angry or determined not to hear it. We tend to think about what we don't want to think about instead. Let the negative voices jabber in the background. So it says you hear the noise and the ruckus behind you, but you keep your attention focused on what's really important, and that's that positive self-talk, which that's hard for me because my mind does, like when I go to meditate, my mind wanders and I have to like get it back on track. Like, you ain't supposed to be thinking about that. Right. So this is my favorite one. Pick your power phrase. Choose words that inspire you, motivate you, make you laugh, or boost your mood. For example, "You the man" or "You go girl." Consciously pick a couple of phrases that feel good. You may even feel a rush of energy when you say them, and practice them out loud in your big, powerful Obi-Wan Kenobi or hero of your choice's voice. All right, pick a phrase or reminder word to help you focus. Say you're performing open heart surgery or pruning a bonsai or training a dog for a show or cooking a new recipe. Use your self-talk to remind you of your technique or a fundamental and critical skill you need to accomplish the job. So usually when you're doing stuff, you say, find your focus. What's important? Why are you important? And then also, why is whatever you think is important, why is it important? Because sometimes you may find that what you think is important is really not. So by going through these steps and paying attention to how we talk to ourselves, we can use language that best supports the action we're after, whether it's cooking a meal without igniting the house or presenting the annual report to stockholders. We are likely to do better and, most importantly, feel better about what we're doing.
Speak over yourself.
So what's your go-to phrase?
I am a lioness, able to brave and weather the storm.
I like that. I like that a lot. That is awesome. I usually just tell myself, you got this, and you know you got this, and you got this far because you got this.
Love it.
And I was,
I'm always
you
like, got this.
Yeah, whatever it is, good, bad, or otherwise, I'm like, you got this. This is what you've trained for. This is what you've worked for. You got this. And whatever you got coming to you as a result is coming to you because you got this.
You got this. So this week, just know that you got this.
You got it. Whatever it is.
Talk to yourself like you got some sense.
Yes.
So we are out of here. You can find us on Facebook,
YouTube,
Instagram,
SoundCloud,
Twitter,
and email us
at flywithusla@gmail.com. I am A Slate.
I'm Lady Bounce.
And we out of here.
Peace.